Hi, I'm Bob Porter. For decades, my partner Jim Sheehan and I have been projecting enrollments for school districts and for the state as a whole. You're about to see a video that we made for the Robbinsdale School District a couple years ago. We're still projecting enrollments, and our methodology is still essentially the same as you'll see described here. When we made the video, we still didn't know two things that we do know now. Actual enrollments for 2025 and 2026. After the old video, we'll compare our projections for these years to what actually happened. Our projections weren't perfect, but they were pretty good. I'll explain why our projections were off by as much as they were. The explanation teaches us a lesson. Enrollment projections are based on choosing from among variations of established patterns. If the patterns suddenly no longer apply, this creates a challenge. We'll look into this. Okay, here's what we did 2 years ago. We've projected Robbinsdale's enrollments out to the year 2034. The goal of this video is to show you how. Here are the known enrollments for Robbinsdale for the years 2014 to 2024. And here's what we think will happen. Now we'll outline how we did this. We really have two separate tasks: predicting kindergarten and predicting grades 1 through 12. We'll show you 3 ways to project kindergarten and 4 ways to project the higher grades. This gives a total of 12 combinations of assumptions to choose from. This graph starts with known kindergarten enrollments for 2014 to 2024. For the future, we have 3 options. Option 1 holds the 2024 enrollment constant for all later years. But maybe that's too simple, given recent decreases. Option 2 adjusts for births. This is how many babies were born in the district each year from 2014 to 2022. But since we're projecting kindergarten, we're more interested in 5-year-olds. So, we've moved the line 5 years to the right and trended it out to 2034. Note that the number of kids exceeds the enrollment. Given charter schools, non-public schools, and open enrollment, this isn't so surprising. Now, if enrollments after 2024 change at the same rate as the population, we will get this. This is kindergarten option number 2. Call it kindergarten with a full adjustment for births. Option 3 is simply the average of the first 2 options. Call this kindergarten with a partial adjustment for births. Now we'll switch from kindergarten to projecting grades 1 to 12. These projections are based on grade progression ratios, or GPRs. GPR is the ratio of a given year's enrollment in a given grade to the prior year's enrollment in the prior grade. This graph shows Robbinsdale's actual grade 1 GPRs for the last few years. To get GPRs for years after 2024, we consider 4 options. We can, first, simply use the 2024 GPR for all later years. Option 2 is to take the weighted average of the GPRs for 2024 and 2023 using weights of 2 and 1. Option 3 is to take the weighted average for 3 years, 2024, 2023, and 2022. And then option 4 is to take the weighted average over 4 years. Note that option 4 is lower than the others. That's because it's partly based on 2021, down here, when enrollments dropped because of COVID. Note that if we use a 2-year weighted average grade progression ratio for grade 1, we will also use it for grades 2 through 12. We've just explained 3 ways to project kindergarten and 4 ways to project grades 1 through 12, giving us a total of 3 times 4 equals 12 combinations. This table shows Robbinsdale's projected 2034 K-12 enrollment under each of these combinations. The projections range from 10,016 at the high end to 7,798 at the low end. And here's a graph of every combination with the middle options shown in red. Enrollment in 2024 is 10,321. This means that all 12 options show decreases, but some decreases are bigger than others. The middle options all deserve serious consideration. Let's call them the 6 finalists. Choosing from among these finalists isn't fully scientific. There's an element of what feels best. What feels best to us is to adjust kindergarten fully for births and to use grade progression ratios that are 2-year weighted averages. Going back to our first graph, here's what we get. The final choice was based in part on the plausibility of the projections for all the years, not just the last year. Also, in Robbinsdale, there's nothing happening that we're aware of regarding housing, health, or economics that contradicts our chosen assumptions. So, back in 2024, when this video was made, how well did we project Robbinsdale's enrollments for 2025 and 2026? Here are the actual enrollments that we already knew in 2024. And here's what we projected would happen in 2025 and 2026. This looks like a reasonable continuation of past history. Now, here's what actually happened in 2025. There was a slight increase rather than the decrease that we had expected. And here's what actually happened in 2026. It turns out that our projections for 2026 were almost right on target. So, what happened in 2025? The video talked about cohort survival ratios, like the ratio of this year's enrollment in grade 3 to last year's enrollment in grade 2. This graph shows Robbinsdale's trend in cohort survival ratios from 2020 to 2024. And here's what we projected would happen in 2025 and 2026. Now, here's what actually happened in 2025. We figured that the ratio can't keep going up like it had been, but it did. This continuing increase caused our enrollment projection for 2025 to be too low. And here's what actually happened in 2026. After 4 straight years of increase, the cohort survival ratio dropped. Big time. The big increase in 2025 and the big drop in 2026 canceled each other out. As a result, the enrollment projection we made back in 2024 for 2026 turned out to be on target. We think that the accuracy of our projection for 2026 will continue in the long term. This is because the grade progression ratios we projected back in 2024 for the long term are close to the historical averages, and that 2025 was probably just an aberration. Now, here's a quick clarification. Grade progression ratios and cohort survival ratios are the same thing. And here's our closing message. For some districts in some years, aberrations are inevitable. Uncertainty is built into the system, just like it's built into political polls. But we think that our analysis, which now offers 5 alternatives for kindergarten and 4 alternatives for grade progression ratios, handles the problem of short-term aberrations in a way that is imperfect but still effective. So, we stand by our work.